G'day everyone, John here. Welcome to the DASSlotCarBox tyre truer overview video. For those of you who have never seen or used a tyre truer before, you might be asking, well, what is it? What's it made of? Why do you need one? Well, this particular one, I believe it's a great value tyre truer. It's made out of MDF, solid MDF base, so it's nice and weighty. And also a combination of aluminium 3D printed materials, steel components, and fitted with a high torque 11,000 RPM DC motor. This device allows you to grind the front and rear tyres of your slot car perfectly round. And a perfectly round tyre allows your car to run much smoothly around the slot car track, giving you high performance and hopefully allowing you to win races. But we're all doing this for fun, right? The design of the 3D printed parts of this model are based on the SSR tyre truer, available on the Printables website. And I'll include a link in the description. I certainly wanted to acknowledge Jonah, the original designer, and for making the 3D models available for free and completely unrestricted for use. So thank you very much, Jonah. But after printing the original model, I immediately spotted a few areas for improvement and have updated pretty much every component of the 3D printed model, just to include some quality of life improvements, make things a little bit easier for the user, and also to simplify the design. Because if you can simplify the design, there's fewer things that can go wrong with it and a lot easier to maintain. So what's included? The solid MDF base you can see here. It's 18 millimeters thick with rubber feet on all four corners to help absorb vibration and not scratch your working surface if you're working somewhere that has a sensitive tabletop or something. An 11,000 RPM high torque DC motor. We are also including this 140 millimeter length, 30 millimeter wide aluminium sanding block. Has 180 grit on one side, 80 grit on the other. So that's 70 mils, so it's half and half. So it allows for the typical width of a slot car, axle and tyres fitted to easily grind the tyres as you're working it this way, or if you're using the other grip, you just simply turn it around and do it that way. So the 3D printed frame, of course, and the steel components you can see here, it's all bolted down, screwed down, so it's very robust. It's not going to go anywhere. Also use Loctite nuts as well, and just fit the main height adjustment knob here. So that will help. It's nice and large, so you've got plenty of purchase on that to help. And you can see here, it does allow you to easily adjust the height and the distance your wheels will be from the sanding plate. In fact, I'll leave this here, better for illustration. But this is spring loaded as well, so it will return as you back off the height adjustment knob. In terms of parts and spares, 3 of everything. We do have obviously what's already fitted on the device itself, so the axle holding block, the engine pulley, motor pulley. But you can see here there's two additional spare axle holders, and you get a raft of pulleys as well. So these are all, again, 3D printed, so plastic will wear, so that's why I've included additional ones. We'll go from left to right, but so there's 3 millimeter pulleys, so allowing for 3 millimeter axles. A lot of cars have those these days. 332 axles, and these two are quite narrow. So some cars like F1s and things like that, there's not a lot of room to actually insert a pulley and to tow your tires. So that's when these sizes can be employed. This one here I quite like from the original design. It's actually a lot wider. It has a wider throat across here, and it gives you a bit more purchase on the axle. And this is the only pulley with a screw adjustment. So you can either use a flat head or a Phillips head to do that one. These axle pulleys have a square nut embedded and a 3 millimeter diameter grub screw, and you use the included hex key, the 1.5 millimeter hex key to loosen and tighten that on your axle. Also included motor pulley. I've been using one of these for over a year and there's no wear at all, but included those anyway. Included these are Carrera brand 332 axle bearings. The way this Trua works, and I'll just show you here, you can see the jaws on the extended jaws on the axle holder. But if I just do this, the actual bearing itself sits perfectly in there, and with the rotation of the wheels, the axle is held in there perfectly. So you definitely need bearings. So whether you're truing front or rears, like most Carrera cars will have bearings on both front and rear, so that's a dottle. You can just slot them in there, but I know other cars and brands don't always have those, so you can take your wheels off, put these on the axle, and then you're good to go. 2 spare O-rings as well. Again, I've been using mine for over a year and haven't needed to replace one, but it's always good to have spares rather than having to scratch around looking for them. And of course you get the obligatory DASSlotCarBox sticker. There are dozens of YouTube videos out there walking through the details of how to true slot car tires. But let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing that process demonstrated using the DASSlotCarBox tire truer. But what I will show you now is just installing a pulley on an existing Carrera axle and just getting it ready to start tire truing. So what I've done here, I've extracted a Carrera rear end from one of my slot cars, and you can see there that the bushings are already there from the Carrera, which makes it very straightforward to add to the device. This is actually one of the Carrera NAS cars, believe it or not, where I've 3D printed the spacer inserts. Look out for the video I made on that one earlier. But for the purposes of this, let's install this pulley. You can see I'm just choosing the side of where there's, I guess, more axle available, so that way it's more centralized when you mount it. Tighten that. The key with this is not to over tighten and not to under tighten. Naturally, you don't want it under tightened, so if it's spinning on the axle, it will wear this plastic piece out. It's plastic after all. And also, if you over tighten, you can, I guess, just weaken the actual pulley itself. But just keep an eye on that. Just make sure that you test that it's not going to be slipping on the axle. A little bit more. Beautiful. And like I said, I've been using one of these for over a year now and never had any issues. So now you can see I've got the pulley nicely installed, and what I can do here is just get it around the motor pulley itself. In fact, I could do this as 2 steps to make it a bit easier, but I can push that in there. Beautiful. You can just stretch this around, and whoops, there we go. Happy days. So that will spin beautifully in there and allow you to adjust up and down. And I usually start with 80 grit just to get the tires, get the high spots off. But again, going very, very slowly, and then finish off with the 180 grit. I just thought I'd illustrate that. That's as easy as it is. Again, if you're interested in how to use this tire truer, hit me up in the comments. I'd be happy to make a short video on how to do that. So how do you power this tire truer? On the motor here, there's 2 tabs where you can use alligator clips from your existing power supply to connect to this. The key thing here is to make sure that the rotation is going in a clockwise direction if you're looking at the front of the motor, so that way the actual turning direction will be this way as well, and it'll be pulling into the jaws of the axle holder, rather than if it's going the other way. If you push it down here, it'll try and roll out, or it can potentially move out. But to just be aware of that when you're connecting the polarity here, that this is turning in a clockwise direction if you're looking at the front of the motor. One of the other options that we've used, well, a number of us in our group have used these cheap variable power supplies from eBay. I'll include a link in the description. If you do decide to pick one of these up, it comes with many different options to connect power to your tire truer. It has its own round plug on the end, but one of the connectors included is this terminal block connector there. So Makes it very simple to screw in a couple of wires here, hook them onto your tyre truer. And that's a bit of a MacGyver approach, but you'll probably see in one of my future videos where I've tidied this up and made it quite neat using this connection option. But also, because I will be personally using one of these on my tyre truer and a few of the boys, I've designed these 3D printed brackets as well, so that they will match up perfectly to allow you to mount power supply on the back of the tyre truer. So how do you get one of these tyre truers? Simply emailing this YouTube channel, DASSlotCarBox@gmail.com. I'll answer any questions you may have, and if you're interested in picking one up, we can work something out. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.